Hey, what's up guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we got a nice little mini ITX build at under $1,000 and has an RTX 3050 in it.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's just gonna be that good. 3050 i5 RGB mini ITX case. It's gonna be great. But before we dive into this build, let's hear a word from today's sponsor.
Today's video is brought to you by Opera and their new GX mobile web browser. If you're a gamer, then this web browser is built for you. It's available on iOS and Android, and it is fully customizable from a variety of different themes. You also have the ability to browse whatever content you want online securely and also ad-free, while also being able to have direct access to some of the best gaming deals on the internet right from your web browser. You can also send links, videos, files, and notes to yourself in a single click and access them across all your devices that have Opera GX installed by using the Opera GX MyFlow feature built into their web browsers. You shouldn't hesitate any longer. If you're a gamer and want the most optimized web browser that also has a very awesome gaming look, then definitely check the link in the description down below and install Opera GX Mobile today. You most certainly won't regret it. Special thanks again to Opera for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into the video, shall we?
So shout out to Galax for sending over this RTX 3050, which is a really cool looking model. You guys get to see that once we get it out of the box.
So what we're gonna go ahead and do is talk about each individual part, how it makes up this PC build, and in Toasty Bros fashion, build it, benchmark it, and wrap the video up real quick. So let's do it.
So first up, we have the CPU. This is the i5-10400. It's a 6-core, 12-thread processor. Now, of course, you could go 12th gen, but keep in mind, that means you're also going to need to find a 12th gen mini ITX motherboard, which I don't think exists yet. Maybe they do though, maybe they will in the future, but we needed to go with the mini ITX board. We didn't want to spend a whole lot of money, which we will get to that in a minute, but that board was nice and cheap. And to cool that, we could use a stock cooler, would work perfectly fine. We did that many times, but we got an up here ARGB cooler, which is a 120mm tower cooler. We'll put some nice Arctic MX5 thermal paste to give this thing the best chance at gaming hardcore. And for the motherboard, we have the MSI H510i Pro Wi-Fi. You could spend a little bit more. They do actually have B560s and B460s in the mini ITX variant, but this board right here I think was like a little over $100. Mini ITX, you do pay a lot more for motherboards, but we got Wi-Fi and everything built in. It does have 2 RAM slots, and I think this one actually, it actually has 2 4-pins for the CPU and M.2, full PCIe 16, so there really wasn't a reason for us to go with the B560 unless you're really worried about having fast RAM speeds, which does bring us to the RAM. We have this Lexar Hades 16 gig kit, and it is 3600 megahertz, so that kind of be a case to get a better motherboard. But honestly, the difference between pricing on 3000 and 3600 is almost pennies, so it's like, why not just get 3600? Even if you can't utilize it, you may as well, in case you ever want to use it in another build that'll support it. And now for storage, we got something real fancy here. This is a Team Group 512 gig SSD, but you'll notice it's not like the other ones. This one actually has RGB on the front of it. We've used these a couple of times. They're honestly more of a niche thing because, well, they cost more. This is about 70 to 80 bucks for 512 gigs. You can get a normal 2.5 inch for like $45. But what's gonna look really cool, we have this nice smoked glass. We're gonna have all these RGB fans loading here. We're gonna have a freaking RGB cooler, and we're gonna slap this right over there, I believe, is where you'll put your SSDs. So it's just gonna look really cool with all the RGB. So we definitely recommend it.
This right here is the Galax RTX 3050. You got 8 gigs of VRAM, ray tracing, NVIDIA encoder, all the beautiful things that NVIDIA graphics cards have to offer in a budget option. Really like the RTX 3050 when you can find it at MSRP or close to MSRP, and it's gonna make for a really awesome gaming PC build. Now I know this is very reflective right now, and I wanna see if Jackson can get the right angle, but this is the EVGA 550B5, which is an A+ bronze power supply. Black sleeve cables, looks nice. Always love going with the EVGA. You can't go wrong with any PC build. EVGA power supplies, highly recommend these. And for the case, this little mini ITX guy right here is the Montech Sky 1 Mini. Very compact, looks really good. We're gonna max this thing out with fans, and yeah, these are the fans we're gonna be using. This is the up here RGB fan pack that Jackson mentioned is gonna match very well with that RGB cooler. And yeah, this is gonna be a nice compact build that's actually gonna be a PC at the Toasty Bros office after this. For what reason, we don't know, but it's gonna be in there. It's just gonna sit there. But yeah, we're gonna go build this thing and see how it performs.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have this $950 mini ITX gaming PC all booted up and ready to go, let's talk about those benchmarks real quick. Now, we decided to test this PC in a handful of titles, those being Apex Legends, Forza Horizon 5, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Warzone, and Halo Infinite. First up in Apex Legends at 1080p on medium-low settings, we end up averaging 100 plus FPS. This is where we start to see the RTX 3050 perform very well. We are really satisfied with this GPU right now. Pricing is a little bit out there considering it's, well, the GPU market we're in right now, but if you're able to snag one in something like a Newegg Shuffle at its MSRP, I think it's an absolutely amazing card right now given the new market standards and what things are going for. And Apex Legends is a very GPU dependent game, and getting 100 plus FPS shows the 3050 is up to the task. Next up in Forza Horizon 5 on high settings at 1080p, once again we see that 3050 shine and we get 90 FPS. I really do think the pairing of the 3050 and i5-10400 make a lot of sense. I know there's 12th gen out there, and I know a lot of people recommend going 12th gen, which we did do a build on that with the 12100, and we do recommend that as well. Anything over the 12100 on 12th gen just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but regardless, the 10400 has the best bang for buck right now with the 6 cores and 12 threads to allow you to do some multi-threaded work, along with be able to handle any game you throw at it with this 3050 and another GPU upgrade in the future. I would comfortably put like an RTX 3070 with a 10400F and feel very happy with the performance. Next up in Shadow of the Tomb Raider on high settings using the built-in benchmark, we averaged 95 FPS. I really think on 1440p medium-low settings, you could get a 60 FPS experience with the RTX 3050. While I wouldn't really recommend it, I think this is more of a 1080p card. It does have those 8 gigs of VRAM, so you can stretch into higher resolutions just a little bit if you want to, but I really think lower settings, getting high refresh rate and running like a 144 or 160 Hz monitor is probably your best bet with this sort of build. Now, don't forget that RTX 3050 is definitely capable of some live streaming as well with that NVENC encoder. That's where it beats out the competition, being able to live stream on a GPU at its price point right now with the 3000 series architecture. It's really hard to beat. Next up in Warzone at 1080p on medium-low settings, we average about 90 plus FPS, most of the time 100, but we did dip down to 90 here and there. You could run all low settings or a more performance optimized settings to get a locked 100 FPS, but with the optimized drivers from NVIDIA and the fact that this 3050 has enough VRAM, 8 gigs of VRAM, and that this system has enough RAM, 16 gigs. As you can tell, we were approaching 16 gigs of usage, totally maxing this thing out. Kind of crazy to see that Warzone uses this much memory, but regardless, the 3050 and 10400 work absolutely amazing in this game. And the last game, of course, we have to test is Halo Infinite at 1080p medium settings, and we end up averaging 90 plus FPS. There's really nothing bad I can say about this system. It performs very well. $950 I think is a fair price point, and the fact that it's in a mini ITX enclosure that looks really clean in my opinion. Overall, I think it's a pretty awesome build for the money, and that's kind of why it's staying in the Toasty Bros office for another set for some rendering, and also a new person who's going to be joining some of our live streams here soon. So stay subscribed for that. And yeah, if you want to pick up in the parts of today's video, link in the description down below will be affiliate links, and they will help us out. How to bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick.
Alright guys, so of course this PC performed really well. I mean, we've messed with the 3050 before, and obviously we've done the 10400 many times. Now, one thing to note, and that we kind of figured out once we put this motherboard in, and we went, man, there's a lot of extra space in here. I feel like this can support micro ATX, and it in fact does. We stuck one in there, and then after actually looking at the case box, it does say mini ITX case, but then under form factor says mini ITX and micro ATX. So that is a way you can save some money. You could also fill up the case a little bit better, but I think we did a really good job based on having these fans plus a bigger GPU really covered up that space to where you really can't even tell this is a mini ITX board.
So if you want to pick up any of the parts from today's build, links in the description down below will be affiliate links, and it will help us out. Big thanks again to Galax for sitting over that 3050. Definitely consider Galax when you're buying a graphics card. And yeah, fun build. Really excited we got to do it.
So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. And do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.
And hey, if you guys want to pick up a PC just like this one right here, if you like this one, the exact same, or you can modify it slightly, PCBros.tech. I took your line.
It threw me off because, you know, we're keeping this computer, and it just kind of threw me off.
Well, they want one just like it.
Oh, yeah.
Just like it.
You know what? You can actually do that, and I'm going to let McAllister leave it just like that. PCBros.tech by PC from us. See you guys later. Goodbye.